Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very, very warm welcome to each one of you to the second CII India Nordic Baltic Business Conclave, organized by the Ministry of External Affairs and the Confederation of Indian Industry. To begin with the inaugural session, I'd like to invite Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General, Confederation of Indian Industry, to give his welcome remarks.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you to this second edition of the CII Nordic Baltic Business Conclave. As Renuka mentioned, the Ministry of External Affairs, the Government of India, and CII is holding this for the second time. The first one was in 2020, and that was during the pandemic time, and our Honorable Minister for External Affairs had asked us to put this forum together. And I must start by welcoming very, very warmly Dr. S. Jaishankar, the Minister of External Affairs of the Government of India, for being present here and for leading this very important forum. Honorable Minister, as I mentioned, that you gave us this phenomenal idea of creating a B2B platform for Nordic, Baltic, and Indian businesses. And I'm happy to report back to you, since the last 2 years, we have had several important sectoral business delegations going from India into the Nordic countries, separate ones. And we had the opportunity also of bringing many of them into our country. Besides, of course, the ministerial delegations in which some of our businesses did also, where they also accompanied. One very important aspect of it has been we have seen many of the Nordic Baltic countries collaborating and participating with us in the deliberations when we were having during the B20 process, which was under the aegis of the G20 presidency of India. And some of the areas that we at that point in time identified to work on were renewable energy, green technology, healthcare, innovation, blue economy, amongst a few important areas. I wanted to also mention in this context that we had, very importantly, a large number of recommendations, about 54 recommendations and 172 policy actions. And all of this would be today in some form getting discussed in different sessions. And the three centers of excellence that we have been able to create: a center of excellence on water, a center of excellence on sustainability, and a center of excellence on green business. These are three huge Indian business promoted institutions in India with collaborations with our government, where we would really seek to look forward to your participation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like to very, very warmly and specially acknowledge and welcome the several ministers from the Nordic Baltic countries who are present here: the Prime Minister of the Faroe Islands, the Minister for Development of Cooperation and Foreign Trade, the Republic of Finland, the Minister for Financial Market, Kingdom of Sweden. We have the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Republic of Lithuania, Deputy Minister for Economic and Developmental Affairs of the Republic of Estonia, the Parliamentary Secretary at the Latvian Ministry of Economics, Republic of Latvia, and the State Secretary of Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Norway, and of course the Special Envoy for Climate of the MFA Iceland, our Secretary West, Mr. Sanjay Verma, who has been leading this again from the Ministry of External Affairs to get to put this forum together with its content. The Indian business is being led by Mr. R. Dinesh of the TVS Group and the President of CII. We have a phenomenal attendance. We have over 70 speakers, 550 business delegates, including over 120 people from the Nordic Baltic countries, which is very, very motivating. And as you know, many of you know that there are around 100 business to business meetings that have been set up during the course of the next 2 days. So with that, once again, a very, very warm welcome. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. May I now invite Mr. R. Dinesh, President CII and Chairman TVS Supply Chain Solutions, to set the context for the conclave.
Dr. Jaishankar, Excellencies, friends from the Nordic Baltic countries, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to set the context on what I would say is augmenting the bilateral ties which India has had with the Link West policy, which obviously includes the Nordic and Baltic countries. As all of us know, India has been a shining star as far as growth is concerned. And now this engagement creates an opportunity to make this a multidimensional relationship, which we are speaking about during the context of this conference and going ahead. As all of us, and as CB mentioned, there have been specific thrust areas which have already been talked about. But as we go forward, how do we make sure that we further enable this? I think the first big advantage I see is the fact that there are inherent technology outcomes which has happened in the Nordic and Baltic countries, which can be combined with the digitalization benefits which India is today being able to offer to the world. As all of us know, India needs things in scale, and the technology which is now available in these countries can be harnessed if these two to come together. And that's something which we will cover, whether it be from the manufacturing side or whether it be from the green and other energy initiatives which have been taken. Secondly, I think there has been a significant focus on the manufacturing sector, and including some of our companies have actually found that there are, I would call it, gems of know-how which are hidden in some of these countries, and we will need to capture those and exploit those through these initiatives. For us, the third and the most important area I would say is the renewable energy focus, and that's something where there has been significant investment taken place from these countries on this to make this happen. Water and the long coastlines are a common shared, I would call it, issues and benefit which both of us have. How do we make sure we use that to the best advantage of the companies and the countries together? And how can we make sure that we can also explore the fisheries and aquaculture sector is something which we should be able to cover during this conclave. Lastly, it is about investments and technology partnerships. How do we make sure that we harness the approach of the Nordic and Baltic countries who are interested in investing in India, and obviously Indian companies who are looking to exploit and benefit from the markets and, as I said, the technology which is available in your countries. So together, the businesses coming together has got to be the focus, not just making sure we have the platform available to make that happen. And that's what we are aiming to achieve through these conferences. I would like to encourage all of us to explore new avenues for collaboration and build enduring partnerships. Together, we can create a legacy of economic prosperity which links not only these countries, but the companies of these countries together to create a longer term sustainable partnership which will benefit all of us together. Thank you, and I wish very productive deliberations during this second conclave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dinesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the proud privilege and honor to invite Dr. S. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs, Government of India, to give his inaugural address. Please join me in welcoming him.
Excellencies, Mr. R. Dinesh, President CII, Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, DG CII, Secretary West, Ambassador Sanjay Verma, distinguished delegates, all participants. Let me begin by commending the Confederation of Indian Industries, CII, for organizing, in collaboration with the Ministry of External Affairs, the second edition of the India Nordic Baltic Business Conclave in New Delhi. It is the first in the physical mode, following the virtual one which we did 3 years back. Now, this conclave is significant because it reflects the growing awareness of our two regions about the possibilities and opportunities in cooperation. This certainly speaks of a more globalized era, but from India's perspective, also of an expanding footprint. The Baltic Sea and the Arctic region have re-emerged in strategic prominence, and conversations about future connectivity and logistics have business implications as well. Now, as you all know, the first two India-Nordic summits were held in Stockholm in April 2018 and in Copenhagen in May 2022, respectively. On these occasions, our leaders underlined the importance of a rule-based multilateral trading system, as well as an open and inclusive international order for global prosperity and growth. They had discussed vital issues relating to global security, to economic growth, innovation, digital transformation, and climate change. We certainly noted the role of Nordic countries as innovation leaders in global growth. Now, along with the Nordic nations, the Baltic states too are in the forefront of innovations, startups, tech applications, and digital progress. Given the integration between these two regions, it makes eminent sense for India to engage them collectively. India's talent pool, digital adoption, and startup ecosystem align well with the Baltic region's prominence in e-governance, digital innovation, supply chain management, and other frontier industries. As open economies, they have adopted a model of a responsive government, a prudent fiscal policy, a favorable investment climate, and flexible labor markets. Hence, a natural synergy to expand and deepen our relationship further with this region. It is encouraging for me to note this very strong participation from official and business delegations from all 8 Nordic and Baltic countries in this conclave. This demonstrates our collective resolve for stronger India-NB8 relations. At the first conclave in 2020, we shared views on the uncertainty and volatility of the pandemic and whether we could change challenges emerging from the crisis into opportunities. We talked about more resilient and reliable global supply chains, about reform for global welfare and growth to be greener, smarter, and more digital. We had reposed faith even then that the India-NB8 partnership could make a substantive difference. That conversation now has to move forward, especially in practical terms. NB8 countries collectively represent an economy of more than $2 trillion, with a population, I believe, of about 33 million, and obviously with a high standard of living. They enjoy a high GDP per capita, and India's combined trade in goods with the NB8 countries is currently around 7.3 billion US dollars. This is, I'm talking of 2022-23. And the cumulative FDI received from Nordic countries from 2000 to 2023 is $4.69 billion. More than 700 Nordic companies are present in India, and close to 150 Indian companies have their presence in that region. So this is the economic baseline on which we need to build further. Our engagement with the NB8 countries has expanded clearly in the last few years. We opened our embassies in Tallinn in December 2021 and in Vilnius this year in March. We will be opening a resident embassy in Latvia very soon. Conversely, Finland has opened a consulate in Mumbai. Direct flights between India and Finland and to India to Denmark are facilitating mobility between our countries. Appropriate institutional frameworks with NB8 countries are also being established for closer business to business cooperation. With Finland, we have established sustainability partnerships, digitalization, and education dialogue. With Denmark, our green strategic partnership is strengthening and facilitating collaborations in water solutions, wind energy, green hydrogen, and agriculture. We also look forward to stronger cooperation with the Faroe Islands and with Greenland. With Sweden, our leadership for industry transition, what is called LEAD IT initiative, has been joined by 18 nations and 19 major global companies, and it has clearly borne fruit in the last few years. More than 260 Swedish companies are in India, working in innovation, in construction, in defense, and in clean technology. Saab, I believe, is going to set up a manufacturing facility in India. India and Iceland are working closely on harnessing geothermal energy in Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh. Similar projects are being planned for Northeast India. Efforts are on to establish a center for excellence in cold and warm water fisheries. We have also forged strong cooperation with Norway to harness the potential of the blue economy, wind, and geothermal energy, as also polar studies, green shipping, water management, space, and health. With the Baltic nations, we have regular official level interactions and we are seeking to explore new avenues for stronger cooperation in e-governance, in cyberspace, in the Internet of Things, startups, defense technology, supply chain, and logistics. There is clearly, however, much more work to be done. Now, given India's ambitious target to set up renewable energy capacities of 450 gigawatts by 2030, India's renewable energy sector is expected to attract investments worth US dollars 200 billion in the coming years. According to the CII itself, India's food processing sectors have the potential similarly to attract as much as US dollars 33 billion over the next decade. Under the Sagar Mala program, India has envisioned port-led development that I believe involves more than 600 projects overall. So these offer real opportunities for the NB8 countries for investment, for trade, and for tech collaboration and exchange of mutual expertise and best practices. The growth of fisheries too is a domain of natural collaboration. On a different note, India is an observer in the Arctic Council. It is interested in increasing its stake further in joint research and development projects and exploring rare earth mining, water, telecommunication, science, technology, innovation, and telemedicine opportunities. Given India's scientific engagement in the Antarctic, exploring a more expansive Indian and Nordic collaboration in the field will be helpful, especially in polar and climate research. Similarly, the world saw our capabilities when Chandrayaan-3 landed on the moon. India's space program opens up new opportunities for collaboration with NB8. Given the fast transforming nature of space technology, the significance of launching sites in the Arctic region, and commercialization of space and geospatial sectors in India can boost public-private collaboration. India's G20 presidency provided a unique opportunity for India to have both closer engagement with Europe and deeper ties with the Global South. Some of you joined different tracks of this G20 engagement process and contributed to its success. The voice of the Global South Summit has given a new energy today to finding practical solutions for the challenges of sustainable growth. India and NB8 can partner in this regard as they can in advancing the Global Biofuel Alliance. Some NB8 countries already have extensive development partnership programs in Africa, and our long established Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation ITEC program can be a platform for further collaboration and diversification. Besides trade, investments, and technology, efforts are also made to facilitate the smooth movement of skills and talent between India and Europe. At the 13th India EU Summit, we adopted a joint declaration on the common agenda on migration and mobility. A high level dialogue on migration and mobility is in place to give it concrete form. We have already concluded agreements with Germany, Italy, France, Portugal, and Austria. Our negotiations with Denmark and Finland have made significant progress. I would urge others of the NB8 to consider its significance in the era of a knowledge economy. Prime Minister Modi has undertaken several structural economic reforms in the last 9 years, transitioning the informal economy into the organized one, cleansing the financial system, rationalizing taxation, incentivizing production, doubling down on infrastructure and logistics, digitizing the government's interface with its citizens, and ushering in an ambitious energy transition. Each one of these is part of a larger policy matrix which is today paying off. But this is only the beginning. India has entered the Amrit Kal, a quarter century where more significant progress and transformation awaits us. India's development agenda is based on leveraging technology to promote an ecosystem of creativity and of innovation. We are confident that our talent, now visibly unleashed, will power us forward. Our message to the world is of digitally enabled governance and delivery, a widening ambit of amenities and services, rapidly growing infrastructure, and an energetic startup culture. The rising expectations of an aspirational India will entail economic advantages and forging stronger bilateral and regional partnerships. Our credentials are rooted in the resilience of our democracy, our diversity and pluralism, and geopolitical heft, including our strategic geography that links the North Atlantic to the Pacific through the Indian Ocean. It is also reflected in our stakes in the Indo-Pacific region itself and an increasing first responder capability. The India-EU FTA and the EFTA-TEPA negotiations, as you all know, are on, and we hope to see positive developments for their early conclusion. The India-EU Trade and Technology Council, too, could open new avenues for stronger India NB8 cooperating on critical technologies and ensure the restructuring of supply chains. So let me in closing say that India's relations with NB8 are truly promising, and that this business conclave is actually a testimony that others too hold that view. I'm confident that the CII can take the lead in realizing the considerable potential of this relationship. I once again thank Team CII and Team MEA for putting together this event, and all of you for joining this conclave, and I wish you a very, very productive deliberation. Thank you once again for your attention.
Thank you, sir. I'd now like to invite His Excellency Mr. Ville Tavio, Minister for Development, Cooperation and Foreign Trade, Republic of Finland, to give his special address. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Dr. Jaishankar, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here in New Delhi today among Indian, Nordic and Baltic friends and to participate in the second edition of India Nordic Baltic Business Conclave. The theme of this inaugural session is creating partnerships for the future, and I cannot imagine more topical subject to discuss. Today, if ever, we need international collaboration and common responses to forge a path towards a sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak of partnerships for the future, I think that Finland and more generally the Nordics and the Baltics and India compose an excellent match. In my brief intervention, my aim is to provide some insight into the question of why we feel that joining forces makes perfect sense and is so immensely important. My first observation entails the rule-based international system and the structures of multilateral cooperation and global governance. Working together and finding common solutions is the key if we are to solve the many global challenges we face today. The issues range from environmental challenges through economic security and resilience to question of international peace and security. These are all examples of questions that no one can solve alone. In short, it is imperative that we can cooperate. My second remark builds around the rationale of mutual benefits. The Finnish and Indian Prime Ministers laid out a guiding map for our bilateral partnerships in the spring of 2021 in the form of a joint statement. The leaders emphasized the friendly relations between our countries and identified the central areas of deepening our collaboration. The baseline is that we possess a number of mutually reinforcing and complementary skills, innovations and interests that will bring both parties many positive outcomes if we choose to join forces and tap the potential of cooperation opportunities. Our partnerships in sustainability and digitalization, as well as our cooperation in the fields of education, science and innovation, reflect our strong belief in a sustainable future that we must make environmentally sound and socially just. This sustainable approach will also bring competitive edge to our companies due to innovation and technological solutions. This is why we have launched a joint Finnish-Indian DESI framework, which we will discuss further later today. To name just few examples of our collaboration with great promise, we are joining forces in telecommunications and in particular 5G and 6G development. We are advancing collaboration in quantum computing, and we are working together to boost sustainable energy systems, including advanced biofuels, green hydrogens, and smart grid solutions. In short, it's in our mutual interest to cooperate. As my third and last entry point, I would like to highlight the increasing people-to-people contacts between our countries, as I believe we are witnessing the beginning of a trend of more mobility, more encounters, and more joint networks. People-to-people exchanges and business connectivity are the key to enhance our economic development and prosperity, as well as to foster creativity, learning, and mutual understanding. This is one particular area where Finland looks forward to enhance cooperation with India significantly. In short, it is an investment in the future that we cooperate. Dear friends, against this backdrop, I'm pleased to note that cooperation, including trade and investments, between Finland and India is developing in very positive direction. Still, I believe that there is much more to come and that we can work our way through our common journey. So let us keep working together building our partnership for the future, for the benefit of us all, Finland, India, the Nordics and the Baltics and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I now have the pleasure to invite His Excellency Mr. Niklas Wykman, Minister for Financial Markets, Kingdom of Sweden.
Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, friends of India, the Nordic and the Baltic countries. I'm so happy to be here with you and so humbled to be here with you. Even though personally, it's my first time to India, even though Swedish ministers nowadays travel here continuously, but it's my first time. But I really feel a deep connection to India, even though I've never been here before. And I'd like to tell you why. It's because I have the strange interest that in my spare time, which perhaps is not so many hours a week, but still in my spare time, I have an interest in doing economic research. And whenever you're faced with a mathematical or programming problems and you go to the internet to find a solution, you could be 100% sure that the best answer is always given by a young, talented, brilliant Indian student or person. So it's a really impressive. So thank you so much for that. And also, I have the great opportunity to live in an area in Sweden that is highly populated with students, postdoc, young professionals, many people doing great things in Swedish and international companies. So whenever you go outside for a walk with your dog on a Sunday, you can be 100% sure to witness several cricket practicing, which is very unusual in Sweden, but very usual where I live. So that's very nice. Indeed, we meet in times of troubles, geopolitical tensions, war. We have inflations once again haunting our economies. But the more problems you have, the more reason there are to do good and to do right. And in that sense, we meet in a great momentum in our relationships. Bilateral trade between Sweden and India is at record high. We are co-creating and innovating together like never before. We're building competitive advantages for decades to come and are enabling the transition to a fossil-free economy. As the Minister for Financial Markets, I have quite many areas, and one that you perhaps would not expect is that I'm also the Minister for Historical Sites and Real Estates. So that could be a military defense infrastructure. So yeah, that's something of a combination actually. But why am I mentioning this? We have, as you all are aware, we have from Sweden, we have the Vikings, and we have Vikings sites in Sweden, that some of them that I'm responsible for. And actually, when you go to a museum for Vikings in Sweden, you discover something particular. You discover that there are seashells. And you can wonder, why do we have 1,000-year-old seashells in Sweden? It's because the Vikings brought them back to Sweden after their trade routes here. They came all along the way from the Indian Ocean back to Sweden, used as a currency at that point in time. And even though I don't want to scare anyone to trade with Sweden, we are a bit more peaceful now than the Vikings were. But even though they had some aggressive trading methods, they were great traders anyway. And that says something, that we have so long time ago, we had relationships and trading relationships between our countries. And nowadays, of course, more than 1,000 years later, we have greater opportunities to trade with each other. But it is evidence that despite of the distance between us, trade finds way, people, goods finds way. Today, through technology and entrepreneurship, the distance between our regions is less of a challenge. Trade between Sweden and India is at record high. Breakthroughs in technology and research promise great prosperity and growth. The Nordic-Baltic region offers good climate for business with infrastructure, human capital, facilitating exchange in Europe and beyond. And we see many Indian companies taking part in our interconnected region with great potential for more. Sweden is a country with competitive modern industries and strong knowledge-based economy. The Swedish economy is the result of openness to new technologies, knowledge, entrepreneurship, and innovation. There are many benefits of being a country of Sweden's size and advantages, but for a country like Sweden, the need for a bigger market is obvious, and that's why trade is so important for us. India, as one of the largest and fast-growing economies in the world, has a number of strengths and, of course, a very strong market that is of great importance for Nordic and Baltic countries. India is also located in a key intersection for global supply chains and plays an active role in connecting the Indo-Pacific for us. It is telling that the single largest foreign policy event for Swedish presidency of the Council of the European Union was the EU Indo-Pacific Ministerial Forum. Indeed, India's key role was highlighted with an honorable minister participating. Thank you so much for that. But we are also a critical market in our own right. Many Indian companies that invest in Swedish businesses and do it for the access to Europe quickly find that they can grow and make profit in an economy where ease of doing business and the innovation climate is a solid foundation. Similar, India boasts scale and strengthen our potential to grow, which is crucial for more than 260 companies now present in India, which is a 25% increase in the start of the pandemic. Looking ahead and to the reason why we meet today, I think it's useful to use India's vision for 2047 and the Paris Agreement as our starting point. So, first, which is important, we cannot tackle climate crisis without securing competitive and stable conditions for investments in efficient and sustainable solutions, goods and services. And growth is crucial itself to enable more sustainable and low carbon solutions. And as we see today, sustainability is not just a moral imperative, but due to regulation and consumer demand, it's also crucial for business profitability. What we need is to secure access to and allocate capital for transition and sustainable solution. Second, innovation in the source of long-term economic growth. You will see Nordic Baltic countries heavily investing in research and development. An active innovation policy requires collaboration, like the bilateral innovation partnership between Sweden and India that was mentioned. There is ample opportunity to such platform to further link our innovation environment and public and private partnerships together. Third, through innovations and sustainability, we can become leaders in the modern industry. That is the ethos, of course, behind the leadership group for industry transition, co-chaired between Sweden and India. It is the key initiative in transforming hard to abate sectors, but it's also vital to remove barriers to trade. In doing so, we can accelerate economic growth in India and in the Baltic regions, and by doing so, and to be able to do so, we need the European Union-India Free Trade Agreement to come in place. At the same time, we should be mindful that the partnership between our region does not happen in a vacuum. There are threats to sovereignty and territorial integrity in both our regions, and there are those who seek to put political pressure by economic means. We need the lines of communications and cooperation between our regions to be secure. These aspects will only become more important as future areas of cooperation, like emerging and digital technologies, rely heavily on trust. That is why the political dimension is key. India and the Nordic Baltic countries together must be strong voices for upholding fundamental values. Let me wrap up by saying that Sweden and India have a very valuable relationship. We are celebrating 25 years of diplomatic relations, and we have marked this anniversary by an unprecedented number of high-level visits. Our common direction forward must be spelled trade, innovation, and sustainability. But let us not forget who makes all this possible. You in this room, you are part of it. The three other Swedish delegations in India right now taking part of this, that. More than 60,000 Indians who live, work, and study in Sweden are part of that. And I'm so much looking forward to developing our relationship between our regions for the years to come. That will benefit people of India and the Nordic Baltic region. Thank you so much for this arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. And now to deliver the keynote address, I have the pleasure to invite His Excellency Mr. Axel Wilhelmsen Johansen, Prime Minister of Faroe Islands. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency Dr. Jaishankar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be present here at the India Nordic Baltic Business Conclave. Thank you for a truly interesting day. On behalf of the Faroe Islands, I am grateful for the opportunity to speak to this diverse and distinguished gathering. I could begin this speech by pointing out the obvious. India, a vast and densely populated nation, recognized as a global economic powerhouse. In contrast, we have the Faroe Islands, a small cluster of weather-beaten and cold North Atlantic islands, often perceived as a tiny nation by comparison. However, I would like to steer our attention away from our size and distance. Instead, I want to show the world how good we are at making size and distance irrelevant. I want to start out with a story. Gudmundur Helmsdal and his team are Faroese filmmakers. Last year, they had an incredible breakthrough, and it all took place here in India. They had a breakthrough with their amazing short film, Brother Troll. Helmsdal and his team won the prize for Best Short Movie at the Mumbai Film Festival. Since then, Brother Troll has been showcased in an impressive 150 festivals across 40 different countries. Countries like India, Canada, Japan, and Brazil. The movie has already achieved 120 awards. It is truly fascinating. A film rooted in a local story about two brothers in the windy mountains of the Faroe Islands, capturing the hearts of the India film community. Yes, it all unfolded here in India, but it all originated in the Faroe Islands. Helmsdal and his team are currently in the process of creating their next film, and I am confident that the future holds many extraordinary moments like these between our two countries. And our agenda here at the Conclave is crystal clear. We are here to explore new and innovative ways for cooperation. We want to build partnerships for the future. Let me share some key facts about the Faroe Islands. We are a group of 18 islands in the North Atlantic Sea. We are few inhabitants, but our economy is strong. We have a higher GDP per capita than many other countries. In fact, we are among the top 15 in the world. The economy is strong, mostly thanks to a high level of education, but also thanks to growth in fisheries, aquaculture, shipping, and tourism. As part of the Arctic, the Faroe Islands are in the center of it all. Many opportunities and challenges resemble among Arctic societies. That's why we are dedicated to building smart Arctic communities that fit our unique circumstances. Our land may be small, but our sea is vast. We consider ourselves a big ocean nation. For us, the sea is essential. Few nations are connected to the sea as the Faroe Islands. The waters around us are rich with marine life, shaping our economy and cultural. I believe India and the Faroe Islands can open new possibilities for cooperation. Both of us have deep knowledge and expertise in the fishing industry. The Faroe Islands have advanced ocean technology and deep sea fishing expertise, while India is rich in oceanic resources. Working together, we can create a powerful partnership for combining India's rich marine resources with our strong technological skills. We are a perfect match for innovation in the marine industry. Another perfect match is within the aquaculture sector. India is one of the world's biggest aquaculture producers. This sets demand for the best equipment, something that we can provide in the Faroe Islands. We are producing the best salmon in the world. Faroese farmed fish is renowned around the world, and Faroese Atlantic salmon is exported to all 6 continents. We have a strong service sector for the aquaculture industry. Our companies supply top quality and long-lasting equipment. I see great potential for a stronger collaboration between India and the Faroe Islands in this area. Lastly, the Faroe Islands have a remarkable level of education. This is a cornerstone for our strong economy. This strong foundation paves the way for collaboration between our countries. India's wealth of skilled professional and higher education aligns perfectly with our vision, especially on IT. Despite its small size, the Faroe Islands are very similar to larger nations, making us an ideal ground for testing full-scale IT projects in real time. Working together in this field has incredible potential to boost education and research standards in both our countries. All in all, we came here to create new partnerships for the future. The Faroe Islands are committed to being an active global player, and we look forward to sharing ideas, building new partnerships, and enjoying our time here in New Delhi. Thank you for your time. I wish you all enjoyable days ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a photo opportunity with all our visiting ministers and our very own minister, Mr. Jaishankar. May I request all of you to please come up on the dais. Mr. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs, His Excellency Prime Minister Faroe Islands, His Excellency Minister for Financial Markets, Kingdom of Sweden, His Excellency Mr. Ville Tavio, Minister for Development Cooperation and Foreign Trade, Republic of Finland, Mr. R. Dinesh, President CII and Chairman TVS Supply Chain, the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Lithuania, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Norway, the Deputy Minister for Economic Development Affairs, Estonia, Parliamentary Secretary at the Latvian Ministry of Economics, Republic of Latvia, and the Special Envoy for Climate, MFA Iceland, and Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General CII.